What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I am your host, TJ Zwarich, joined by now, kind of as always, and you'll be seeing a lot of him going forward for the Agatha All Along live after shows we will be doing. Damon Gray, co-host of the Comic Corner pod. How you doing, Damon?
Man, my Thursdays are just busy as always, but yeah, have fun with it.
Exactly. We got the Comic Corner dropping every Thursday. We're going to have Rings of Power recaps dropping every Friday. And as you're listening to this right now, it'll be hopefully dropping Saturday morning for you. And we have a fun show. We have a really fun show. It was a quiet week in terms of content we have to cover on the podcast, not in general, as many of the Agents of Fandom are at TIFF this week. But a big week for news, which we will be diving into. And to help us with it, it's going to be a Spider-Man focused show. So I wanted to bring in a big Spider-Man fan, Rachel Leishman. How you doing today?
Great. I'm going to talk about my boy.
I can't wait. My favorite character as well. And I have to tease, the teasing is done. I'm going to dive right into it. We will be building our own Spider-Man movie today. The Destin Daniel Cretton was announced as the director for Spider-Man 4. There are all kinds of rumors out there of what this movie is going to be. We know nothing for sure, but we're going to give our thoughts on what our favorite ideas for a Spider-Man movie will be. Before we dive into that, make sure you're smashing the like button if you are. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast, Agents of Fandom. And check out the Agents of Fandom on socials, at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. And we also got some news to cover this week. But before any of that, it's another edition of What Ya Watchin', or often in Damon's case, What You Reading, because he is our comic book guy here at Agents of Fandom. So, Damon, I will start with you. What you've been watching, what you've been reading?
Well, I did come back last week from seeing Beetlejuice, which is a lot of fun. So if you enjoyed... it's actually kind of funny. I've seen people who may not have enjoyed the first one as much as some other people enjoy the second one more, and then some vice versa. So it's kind of interesting. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It's a Beetlejuice movie. You get a little bit more Beetlejuice in this Beetlejuice movie, so that's also a good plus there. What have I been reading? That's a fantastic question. The Ultimate Universe in Marvel has been utterly phenomenal. Every single book they've been putting out has been like a tier on its own, and DC's been doing absolute books leading up to their new Absolute Universe, which is almost like, in a way, their Ultimate Universe, their alternate stories. So if you're looking for something new from DC, go check out those Absolute books when they drop. Those will be dropping very, very, very soon. October is a great month to get into DC Comics. On the indie side, it's Horror Palooza. It really is. It has been since like the summer, which has been phenomenal. There's so many different types of horror anthologies. Hell of Darkness is very good. Epitaphs from the Abyss from Oni. So if you're looking for something spooky for the spooky time of year, you can check out here on our YouTube and on our TikTok for some of my suggestions for spooky books, because we're in a great season for it.
I love it. And, everything I see about these Absolute DC books I like and I think look really cool, except for Batman. Like, Batman, just like, I can get behind big, major, huge, jacked Batman. Whatever, we can do that. Okay. What the hell is going on with the logo, Damon? It's literally
the
just
more you complain about it, TJ, the bigger the logo's gonna get. So stop complaining about it.
This is a very cool rectangle
with spikes in strategic places. Okay, look. This is a Batman, so in this Absolute Universe, everything's a little different. So this is a Batman who did not grow up. Like, the Waynes are not stupidly rich. They were average to like middle class to maybe below middle class people before his parents were murdered. So he doesn't have the financial resources to be the Batman that we know. So that's why this Batman is a little bit yoked. He is a brick wall. He is a big man. Like, he makes Bane look small in some cases. It's pretty cool.
I don't think his means should have anything to do with the logo he creates, you know? Like, even if
Well,
you're
the
not
logo
a graphic
suits
designer,
him.
draw that.
You got a big, jacked, just a wall of human meat Batman. You're gonna have a logo that shows a big, well, I guess bat meat version of a bat.
Rachel, how about you? What have you been watching these days? If I'm not mistaken, you just came from a press screening.
Well, no, that got rescheduled. But
Oh,
Damon, I thought he was going to go on and on and on more about Batman, so I took a bite of my salad, and then he stopped talking.
I can go first. I
Go.
I tried to
I'm
like
ready. I'm ready now.
I tried to go long enough with like my transition that you'd be able to
Finish
finish
salad?
chewing, but I didn't
Yeah.
quite go long enough.
Sorry to all of the people watching this. My food got here late, and so I was like, well, I'm not going to make you guys wait, and so I'm just eating my salad off to the side. But I saw My Old Ass this week, and it fully wrecked me in a way I was not expecting that movie to wreck me, if that makes sense. Like, thought that movie was a comedy. It's not. Just heads up, that is not a comedy. Sure, it is comedic, but it was me. I was sitting between, I don't know if you know Junior Felix, but Junior was next to me, and then Jirok was on the side of me. And I started weeping, but I was like trying to keep it quiet because I was like, well, I don't want to like make everyone else cry. And then I look over and Jamie was full sobbing. And so then she leaned forward and I saw Tessa Smith sobbing, like ugly crying. And it was just like the line of us. And then apparently I didn't go into the bathroom, but apparently in the bathroom, all of the women were like, did you just see my own ass? And it was just like a whole little hodgepodge of people just sobbing over this movie. Can't recommend it more. Loved it very much. I think it is so, so good. I've also been watching, well, the embargo's up, so I can say I've been watching The Penguin. That show slaps. And reading a lot of Top Gun Maverick fan fiction. That's about where I'm at as a human. So that's my reading. Top Gun Maverick fanfic.
Oh, I love that. Damon, I will admit my reading has taken a backseat recently. We've been busy. We haven't had a lot of Kyoshi time, but we will be getting back into it, I promise. We also haven't been watching all that much new stuff lately. As I like to say on the show, you know, my wife Ava, she loves a procedural. And so the one we're watching right now is The Good Wife, which has so many fun cameos and guest stars that they bring in throughout the show. And so I am enjoying that a little bit. And then I've been playing a lot of video games lately because when I'm not writing, I try and turn my brain off and play video games because I've been just doing a lot of NFL content for Roto Grinders with that starting. And then a lot of written content here with Only Murders in the Building. And then soon to come, Agatha All Along and The Penguin for me. But in 4 of those video games, I finished the main story for Star Wars Outlaws. I like that game quite a bit. I think it's a really, really fun game. The underworld aspect of it kind of keeps it going so that the main story, I was surprised how fast I finished it. I'm looking forward to the DLCs because the first DLC we're going to get is going to have one of my favorite Star Wars characters, Hondo Ohnaka. And then the next one we're getting after that, I believe, is going to be a Lando-focused one. So a lot of cool stuff in it. You get to play a lot of Sabacc. I enjoy the game. I kind of view it as like Red Dead Redemption in space, but not quite as good as RDR2. Like RDR2 is one of the best games I've ever played, so I don't mean that as an insult. It's not as good as that game, but same vibes and in space with Star Wars characters. It's a lot of fun. And then from that, I finished that, so I've transitioned to playing a little NBA 2K25, playing a little Black Myth Wukong. I haven't gone too far into that one yet, but I just started it up last night. And then going to be very busy with lots of good content coming. And I'm not the only one who's been busy lately because Toronto International Film Festival is going on right now. We have Ryan Cortero, Ethan Simi, and Aisha Shabiz there right now. And they got tons and tons of great reviews up on agentsofandom.com. In addition to things like we got, as you can see, The Rings of Power, Transformers 1, but a few of these TIFF movies out already with The Cut review by Ethan. We have The Life of Chuck, the new Mike Flanagan movie, his first non-horror movie with Tom Hiddleston. We got a review up for that one. Oh, Canada, Saturday night. And then we have interviews with Jason Reitman coming soon for that one as well. and a lot more from TIFF that is going to be coming. So make sure you check out agentsofandom.com for that, because we got a lot of fun stuff coming. Before we get Spider-Man going, there is a little bit of news that I want to talk about. Venom 3 trailer came out today, and this coincides, Venom the Last Dance, and this coincides potentially with some Spider-Man 4 news. We get Knull in this trailer for Venom the Last Dance, and a whole lot of rumors that potentially Tom Holland could be showing up in this movie. A whole lot of rumors that potentially Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock could be showing up in Spider-Man 4. Who knows? Maybe they're teaming up. Maybe they're against each other. Lots of rumors around this one. Before we talk Spider-Man 4, let's talk Venom 3. Rachel, I want to throw it to you first. You got some skeptical eyes over there.
You said Tom Holland. Risa Fons is in this movie.
So?
He's Kurt Connor for a different fucking Spider-Man.
Multiverse.
No. Listen, we tried it with Keaton going to Morbius for whatever goddamn reason. Let my lizard come back and just give it to Andrew Garfield. It would also make sense because everyone keeps asking him, and Andrew Garfield's like boopity boop boop, and like just he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, which he already did once. Someone go deliver him a pizza, and then we'll know where he is, because that's what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home. Was the pizza delivery driver was like, Andrew Garfield's in Atlanta, and
then somebody runs into Tobey Maguire at the park.
Yeah, they were like, what's going on?
What a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't believe a single rumor about a Spider-Man showing up, because every time one of these movies comes out, they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah is officially Spider-Man, and here he is. I've not seen him. Unless he was spider-sized, he wasn't in the movie. So just let it be the love story that it is between Eddie Brock and Venom, because they put a song in that trailer today that is literally about your lover leaving you, about these two. And I'm sure people are gonna be like, no, it's because it says it's a wild world. I'm like, no, it's a song about like breaking up with somebody. So you can't tell me it's not a love story.
I agree with everything you just said. For what it's worth, I support you. If there's a Spider-Man in this movie, I would prefer it to be Andrew Garfield. I think that would be so cool. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'll play devil's advocate for the purpose of the rumors. You know, I've been watching a lot of lawyer shows, so I got to defend. The rumors aren't here to defend themselves. They have appointed me. None of these Sony-verse movies make money other than Venom. These movies actually do make money. So if there's, I think, credence to if they were going to put Spider-Man in any of them, I think that would make sense. It would be there. Do you think Venom 3, Damon, could bleed into Spider-Man 4? Don't just say sure. I want an actual answer. Don't just say sure.
Your actual answer is F-U-R-E.
Do you think Venom 3 can bleed into Spider-Man 4 with these characters potentially appearing in each other's movies?
That train knows. That train said absolutely.
No.
Exactly. The train's gone. The train's left the station, everybody. I'm about to be a wet towel, a wet blanket on all of Venom, because, look, me and the Sony movies, I've given them their chance. I've given them a hope. I look at them and I'm like, I'll give you a chance in time. I've lost count of the amount of times I give them a chance, and they've just wiped it out on me, where I just do not enjoy almost any of them. The first Venom movie was the first and only one where I was like, there's something here. It's hard to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man, but for what they got, this is fine. Can Venom appear in Spider-Man 4? Sure, TJ. Sure. Because it can happen. It can happen. Do I want Venom to appear in Spider-Man 4? Now, that's a conversation we will have later when we are drafting our Spider-Man 4 dream movie. But the short answer to tease that is no.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you guys. It's hard to play devil's advocate when I 100% agree with everything both of you are saying. I did really enjoy the first Venom movie. Venom Let There Be Carnage really let me down because Carnage is my favorite Spidey villain because he's just the antithesis of everything Spidey. He doesn't care about the responsibility. He doesn't care about anything else going on. He just wants chaos. And so I find that for Spidey to be a very interesting villain. And I really hate how he was kind of wasted for that movie. But I have cautious hopes to enjoy the third. I hope Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not in it, and I hope Tom Hardy's Venom has nothing to do with Spider-Man 4 as well. And that brings us to the next segment of our show, and the one that I have been excited for. We've all been.
Can we talk about
for.
Knull for just a very quick second?
Yeah. Hit me with some Knull first. I already wrote down the timestamp that we were switching to Spider-Man. I was proud of myself for being organized, but it's fine.
Apologies.
We'll transition.
Apologies.
We'll pull it back.
I just want like a quick minute to talk about
You
Knull.
stood on a soapbox and said the Sonyverse sucks.
That's why I'm very upset that I'm seeing Knull in this trailer, because this is a villain I was really, truly hoping. Look, there is a book that came out not too long ago from Donny Cates, and it's very good. It's called King in Black. It's the big event that led to Knull attacking Earth. And what was the coolest thing about Knull? And the coolest thing about that is you get to see Venomized versions of all these different heroes and all these different characters. Like Venomized Daredevil, Venomized Cyclops, Venomized Thing. We even get like glimpses of like a Venomized Ms. Marvel. Stuff like that, right? Very cool things. Instead, we're getting Venom Horse. And Venom Fish. Right?
Don't be mean about Venom Horse.
I will. Would I rather see Venom Horse or Venom Daredevil?
Venom Horse. He goes, nay.
Because Rachel's on the show, I have to make the reference. This is Rachel, you're Leslie Knope right now, and Damon, you're Ben Wyatt, and the Venom Horse is Lil Sebastian.
And it's a horse, and he's Venom.
It's a horse, and he's tiny. He's a horse, and he's tiny, Ben.
He's a horse, but he's Venom.
To me, the Knull being there just kind of brings up bitterness feelings for me from Thor: Love and Thunder, where I feel like that movie had all the ingredients, all the pieces to be a really great movie, and they just kind of butchered the execution. Like, I view it as like a really good meal that they had fresh ingredients and everything you need to make a really good meal, and then they just left it in the oven for too long or not enough and kind of undercooked it, and they didn't give us enough gore, and they didn't give us, if you're playing ball with each other anyways, give us the Knull connections with the Necro sword, blur those lines of what's what in the Universal stuff, so that if you're gonna cross these characters over, some stuff potentially makes sense, but brings up a few sour feelings for me. But now, Spider-Man, we are going to build our own Spider-Man 4. It was announced that Destin Daniel Cretton is going to be the director of this film. He, of course, was the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And now he's going to be doing Spider-Man 4. What that tells me is we're going to have some really exciting action sequences in this one. And he does friendship really well. He does characters bouncing back and forth and being relatable really well, and the banter is very good, and this fits for a Spider-Man movie to me. I'm gonna have good action, and I'm gonna have relatable character traits. That to me sounds like a Spider-Man movie, so this feels like a good fit. I actually added one more thing into this from what I sent you guys earlier, and I'll go through that right now. But to build our own Spider-Man movie, we will talk about a setting. Where do we want this to take place? Is it multiversal? Is it in New York? Is it in Europe, all across Europe, like Far From Home? Where do we want this to take place? Who is going to be the main villain? Will there be, a side villain? Who will be the main villain? Who will be the MCU cameos and appearances? Are they going to tie this in? Are there going to be other characters we know showing up in this? And then the one I just added, Spider-Man character appearances, because there are lots and lots of characters in Spider-Man's lore who haven't shown up in any of his movies yet. We get a Norman Osborn Green Goblin in No Way Home, but that's not this universe's Norman, if there is a Norman in this universe. And so lots of characters from his comic books and shows, lore, things like that we haven't seen yet. So are there any of those you'd want to throw in? And most importantly, the plot. What is this movie? If we're throwing all these ingredients together, how will they fit together? So I will I kind of want both of your input on this. Do we want to each person go through all of theirs at once, or do we want to go setting, villain, etc., all the way through? Do you want to pitch your movie all at once, or should we go one category at a time?
We all go together, and at the end we do a soda recap.
I like it. Let's start with setting. Rachel, I will go with you. Where would you want your Spider-Man 4 movie to take place?
Queens, New York City, and I don't want him to leave. More specifically, he can just stay in Forest Hills. He doesn't even need to branch into Manhattan. But if they want to branch into Manhattan, they can. I'll take it. But leave the bitch in New York. I'm begging.
That is really the only reason to me that the idea of a multiversal movie sounds bad. I know we're in the multiverse saga. I just really feel like we're due for a Spider-Man in New York movie. It feels like a long time since we've gotten that. Damon, how about you?
How about New Haven, Connecticut? I'm kidding. It's gonna be in New York City. Like it has to be. When was the last time we had like a full Spider-Man movie in New York City? It's been a hot minute. We haven't had it with Tom Holland yet, and it's needed. Like a full movie in New York City.
Homecoming, technically, or not Homecoming. No Way Home, technically, but it was jumping all around.
I get it, but there was like the multiversal asterisk aspect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grounded New York City.
I agree.
I will stick with the New York City, but I want to expand from Queens for a very specific reason. I want to go to Hell's Kitchen, and why I want to go to Hell's Kitchen. I'm not. Don't get into me. I know you know New York better than I know you. New York.
Manhattan, and Hell's Kitchen is technically 2 blocks of Manhattan.
I know. I'm just teasing something. I'm teasing a character for later. It has nothing to do with the blocks of New York.
You're teasing this as bad as like the teen is teased right now, TJ. Please.
The teen, aka different language subtitled Billy. Billy who? I wonder. I agree. New York.
He's actually his whole thing. They changed his name.
Who is the villain of this movie, Rachel? Who do you want to be Spider-Man's main foe? Are there going to be alternate foes? Who is he going up against?
So his main foe is Kingpin, obviously, but he has a secondary foe going real Batman style, and his secondary foe is none other than Felicia, and he is going to go and have Black Cat to deal with now that he does, like, MJ isn't there, and he's like trying to keep his distance from MJ. So I think it's a perfect time to bring Black Cat in.
I don't think are going to be pitching different movies. I think we're all going to be coming together on a really good idea. We're just going to be writing the script right now for the same Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, because I know exactly who everyone's MCU character
is. Damon, what do you think about this idea? Because you sent me notes on the rundown I sent before it, and for every answer, you just put Black Cat, Black Cat, Black Cat, Black Cat, Black Cat.
I wonder why.
I like that I didn't know that and can't see them behind you right now. So I was like, I love Black Cat. I couldn't see in this movie.
Now, Black Cat to me would not be the main villain, B-plot villain, right? Exactly. Now,
they're teaming up.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I will push back a little bit on Kingpin. Why? Because right now, Kingpin, as we know, is going to try to be mayor of New York. That's like his vision. So in my vision of this, Kingpin's left all of that, and now there is like that hole in New York where any crime syndicate can go into, and all these different mafias and groups are all battling each other. So for me, you can have a pick of either it's like, you know, Hammerhead or whoever. For me, I'm gonna go with the Rose.
I think
I'm into it.
the answer to everything you're saying is yes, but I want to add more to it, and this kind of will get to the plot aspect when we get to it. But I like Kingpin as the main villain. I think Felicia starts out as doing his bidding, wants to break free. This is where Spider-Man gets involved. Maybe Black Cat is doing the bidding. Maybe Matt Murdock is representing. Oh, I damn it, I'm early. But maybe Matt Murdock is representing Felicia Cardi in court. I kind of want to just combine a couple Spider-Man the Animated Series episodes here, and I think Kingpin makes for a great overarching villain. Maybe photographer Peter Parker. There's too much. I'll get to that in the plot, but I want to keep Kingpin as the main villain, and I agree. Hammerhead can be like maybe the main crime family guy in terms of the villains, but I think you just introduce all the crime families. Peter Parker is maybe going undercover, doing something. Nobody knows who he is. He's doing photography stuff. He's trying to learn about the crime families because he's trying to make New York safer, and through that he finds Felicia. Through that he runs in with Daredevil and Wilson Fisk in ways that we will bring up later. But I like it. I think the crime families, I think a starting villain of Black Cat and pushing into a team up by the end up against Fisk and the crime families. I don't think Fisk will be a visual villain for the universe because I think, like Damon said, he's running for mayor. That'll be a big point in Daredevil Born Again. Although maybe this, I don't actually know the timing of this. Maybe this comes out after Daredevil Born Again. So depending on how that plays into it, I think he'll likely be a behind the scenes role, but we'll get into more of what I'm picturing with that later. MCU cameos and appearances. I've teased Daredevil, I think would fit in perfectly with a New York story. You start having, whether it's because they're representing Peter Parker and he's gotten into some issues, or it's Felicia Hardy and Spider-Man's trying to get involved. I think you have Daredevil and Spider-Man both looking for evidence just to clear the same person, but they don't know who each other are. They don't know that they're on the same team. Yeah, Daredevil can probably sense-ish who he is, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is anymore. And so to him, he just looks like some generic white dude because that's what Spider-Man looks like under there. So he wouldn't recognize the heartbeat. They don't know each other. They don't know they're on the same side. They're fighting until they eventually realize they're on the same side. But we get a fun little Daredevil versus Spider-Man fight scene like we do in Spider-Man the Animated Series. Feel free to reaffirm the Daredevil, but also are there any other MCU characters you would feel would fit in well to this story, Rachel?
Matt, but I would also take Jessica Jones because if we're going with your theory of like the underbelly and stuff, like Jessica Jones would be around there. But also, aren't we also talking about characters that haven't shown up from Spider-Man's lore, or is that later?
That's after this one.
Oh, okay,
but,
great.
Yeah.
So Maddie, I would take Jessica Jones. I don't know. I would bring Jen in. Let She-Hulk hang out with everybody. Like she flies to New York to see Matt Murdock and gets roped up in it. That I don't mind as much. I think though, if it was going to be like a big team thing, it would end up being Maddie.
There's so many easy ways you could do that of just having Matt be like, you need a really good lawyer, but I'm kind of busy. I know someone you can call. And then a big green She-Hulk steps into the courtroom. That would be pretty freaking awesome. Damon, you seemed excited about the Jessica Jones idea.
Jessica Jones idea, absolutely. But I think we're forgetting about someone who's in New York City right now and also has dealt with Kingpin.
Did I forget
Personally.
or did I leave it for you?
You left it for me because Kate Bishop would just make sense, even for a small role, just because she has been dealing with that. We don't really know what she's been up to since, but I'd imagine she's essentially been looking into Kingpin and everything that he's been going on with, like, his whole mafia and gang and everything, right? So that could then lead to unraveling other aspects and other factions going around in the city, right? I'd imagine that's what she would be doing. And, in the comics, just to tie it back in with Jessica Jones, Kate and Jessica have a very good relationship because eventually Kate starts her own private investigation called Hawkeye Investigations, and Jessica Jones is a mentor figure to her.
And they're both purple.
And they're both purple. One deals more with a bad purple guy,
but her
but
hair
they both have purple aspects.
Her hair's purple.
Yes.
Here's what I would like to see in that setting of just give me Kamala and Kate trying to recruit Spidey to the Young Avengers and have him, no, I work alone. Because I can't have friends anymore. I left my friends behind. I'm broody now. I'm upset.
Why is your Spider-Man Batman?
Though that's because that's how Spider-Man always is. When
That's not how he talks at all. He'd be like, "Oh, hey guys, so actually,
he's upset right now. This is Spider-Man the Animated Series upset guy. When somebody asks him to try and be a team, no one ever helps me. I try and help others, and no one helps me. Did you see the X-Men trying to get him to link up with them? It didn't work well.
I was gonna say, does this Spider-Man already have like a symbiote on him, dude? What's going on?
No, he doesn't. He's traumatized because he has no friends. He's going to be upset for the first 30 minutes of this movie, and then he's going to become a better man because Felicia reminds him to have a little fun again.
TJ's favorite Spider-Man scene is Toby walking down, doing the emo dance with the hair.
What's the next question?
Spider-Man character appearances. We all want Black Cat. We all want Felicia Hardy. Rachel, do you have any other ones you'd want to mix in here? We talked some Hammerhead.
I got your trauma.
And do you have any potential fan casts for a Felicia Hardy? You can't say yourself.
I was like, me for Felicia. Yeah, hold on. Let me cook real quick. They have not said that Ben Parker is dead. They haven't said that. He has his suitcase and stuff, and she said stuff about Ben, but they haven't said he's dead. My friend tweeted this forever ago, and it has forever stuck in my head, that Timothy Olyphant should be the hot Uncle Ben to Marissa Tomei's Aunt May. And so I propose that Uncle Ben is alive and he shows back up, but then Peter obviously, like, he don't know who Peter is. And so that is my, like, my dream would be that Uncle Ben's wasn't ever dead, because the whole 3 movies is he learns about responsibility and stuff because of Aunt May.
They're just divorced.
No, not divorced. He up and left. He, like, we don't know where he went. Not like he just vanished. And so they maybe assumed he died, but I think he's alive. And then
Doesn't remember Peter. That's devastating.
A Dreamcast for Felicia. Trying to think. What if I was like Sydney Sweeney? No.
Very original.
Yeah, so original. I don't know. I would like it to be someone who is like relatively unknown, like Tom Holland was when it kind of started. Because I think that's why I like Spider-Man. Because with the exception of like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, people knew, but they were much bigger after that. But I think go with someone they don't know.
Somebody put the idea of Sabrina Carpenter in my brain, and I kind of can't get it out. I have literally no idea if she could act, but the look would work.
Yeah, she was a Disney Channel kid, TJ.
Well, then it's perfect. You're giving me negative reactions to everything I say. Give me one happy one from. I needed the dopamine boost. Damon, what do you think?
Oh, golly. Train's going by again. I mean, look, yeah, the Black Cat is, like, my go-to answer, obviously. I was gonna go up and be like, how about Jackpot, everybody? There's a twist no one would see coming. No, that would be an awful idea. I'd walk out of the theater. I'm still sticking with my idea of, like, the Rose, or one of, like, the faction heads. I think that would be a really fascinating way to attack that underbelly of New York and then expand it further.
For those who don't know who the Rose is, because that is not one of the more, mainstream necessarily Spider-Man crime family heads, who is the Rose?
Depends on the version. It
Tell us
really does.
the versions.
It's complicated,
Give us
man.
a light background.
Oh my god, there's a version that's like Kingpin's kid, and then there's a different version. So it's like let's just another crime syndicate head. That's all you gotta know. Another crime syndicate head in New
What's
York.
their MO? Who do they?
Depends
Who do
on
they
the version,
team
and
with?
I'm not
I
going
don't.
through
Who do
all of that.
Who's the version you want?
Screw it. Let's do Kingpin's kid. Screw it.
Richard.
Yeah.
Interesting, because Richard is also the one in the animated series who frames Peter Parker once he starts working for Fisk, not knowing he's a bad guy. And then that's how we find Matt Murdock. Tag in, Rach.
Do you think they call him Dick Fisk?
I bet the people who don't like him do.
Just wanted to ask.
Golly.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have the answer for you, but I bet you Peter will. I bet you Peter's for sure gonna call him Dick Fisk.
That was all.
How are all these characters gonna tie together? Because we're throwing in the crime families, we're throwing in Kingpin, we're throwing in Felicia. This does not save the room for potential symbiotes and things like that. Is Zendaya going to be in this movie? Is Ned going to be in this movie? How does it work? How are they tied together? Rachel, I'll start with you.
Okay. First of all, thanks earlier, TJ, for speaking my truth in the universe. Peter Parker needs a fucking camera in his hand, or I'm going to pull out my hair, because I want him to be photographer Peter Parker so badly, and they gave him a camera for 2 seconds in one movie, and then he's not been back. So I think he is a photographer. I wouldn't be mad if the plot is, now that Kingpin is mayor, crime in especially like Manhattan, Times Square area has gotten so bad that they're like doing investigative reporting. He has to try and take pictures of everything that's going on. And so he's learning about all these people, like you said, TJ. But I think that like the Jessica Jones and potentially Kate Bishop connection would be Peter connecting everything to Fisk and how he's actually behind all of this, and then that connecting to Matt and connecting to Kate, and then Kate learning how to do private eye stuff through all of that, and then that having that storyline. So it's all about the little crime people and all of that connecting, and then yeah, that's all I got. And then the drama is that not dead uncle shows up.
How about the romance between Felicia and Peter? How is that going to happen? But don't take the bite. Oh, I was keeping it with you. Now I have to vamp long enough.
I go ahead.
How is the romance between Peter and Felicia coming into play? Is it strictly Black Cat and Spider-Man? Is it happening Peter and Felicia as well? Is Zendaya's MJ involved as somebody that Peter's pining over, trying to get to know until Felicia enters the fold?
Yes. All of those, yeah. But I also think, I meant to say this, I also think that he's going to finally be like, okay, well, like, I can't let her remember me. I have to kind of move on, yada, yada, yada. So he, like, decides, I think it would literally be he decides to go on a date with Felicia, and he's, like, getting ready for it, and then he sees MJ and Ned again, and it's, like, that's the end of the movie, is, like, he sees them. And so it's, like,
MJ and Flash on a date.
Flash Thompson. No sleep till Boston.
Damon, how about you? How are all these characters tying together?
Hey, when it comes back to that relationship between Peter and Felicia, all I gotta say is that's gotta be like the most, it has to be like just the most toxic, worst. Like you look at it like, no, but he just keeps making these horrible decisions. And you're just like, you know, it has to be like one of those, I get it, but come on, kid.
He just made the most responsible decision of his life. It's so perfectly timed. Just like, he needs the release. He needs to be able to go have some fun. And Black Cat is the perfect, I don't mean sexual release, Damon. I saw how you were going. I saw your facial expression. I mean, just like he needs to not be an adult, because he just made the most adult responsible decision, and he's still not that. He's still a kid who just finished high school. And so I think the rebellious nature stage with Felicia could be perfect. I think by the end, Matt will be representing Felicia Hardy, and that is how she will get under the thumb, out of the thumb of Wilson Fisk and or whatever crime family. If it's not directly Fisk, if it's say Hammerhead, I think it'll be Matt who eventually helps get her away from that, because even if Peter doesn't remember, even if Matt doesn't remember Peter, Peter will remember Matt, so he'll know how to find him, he'll know how to get to him, even if he's not part of an earlier aspect of the movie.
And also, Matt's going around right now, like clearly helping out. I don't want to say young Avengers, but like the young heroes of New York, helping them out after the whole Department of Damage Control stuff. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I love the idea that Peter is a photographer. He's taking photos, and he's taking photos of a Wilson Fisk campaign rally. His spider senses go off. He realizes somebody is trying to assassinate him. He pushes him out of the way. Still not fully realizing who Wilson Fisk is, he accepts a job because Jonah's paying him absolute shit at the Bugle. And so he accepts a job working for Fisk's campaign, taking photos for it, until he gets framed for something shitty that Fisk does. Or maybe it's Richard Fisk who does the thing shitty. That's how it is in the
If you say
animated show.
Series, Jesus.
That's how it is in the animated series, Rachel. And then, you know what? Keeping it with that, maybe we have Chameleon show up in this one. Chameleon would be a really fun villain to throw into this one. He just has a little belt that he goes, choo, and then he changes into a totally different person. And nobody notices this weird little belt on him.
Show up. Let's just bring out the lizard. Let's just bring them all out.
Chameleon is someone we haven't seen yet in a Spider-Man movie. I think he could be a fun little piece that could be working as a hired hand for the crime families. But, David, you're nodding. That fits. Tell me I'm right.
I mean, you can do anything with Chameleon just because he can be any character throughout the whole movie, and then like the post-credit scene is, it was Chameleon all along, and then just like the last two Spider-Man movies, we just never see any, or three Spider-Man movies, you just kind of see never anything about it ever again. R.I.P. Scorpion, thanks for showing up.
Scorpion will be another hired hand of the crime families. They got him out.
Okay. Look, my story is pretty similar to both of yours, like almost like a mission in between, right? Like, look, he is maybe not a reporter, but a photographer.
I didn't finish, but he gets gets framed. That's where Matt Murdock comes in. He gets framed. That's where Matt Murdock comes in. They're both looking for. I did in reverse order. Oh,
he got framed.
He represents Felicia at the end.
He got framed in the last movie.
He's getting framed again. Matt Murdock comes in. They're both looking for evidence. Spidey and Daredevil fight. That's the part I brought up earlier that I forgot to say again. Now that's what.
Okay. I'll say mine starts off with Peter, going around taking photos, essentially trying to find out why crime in New York City is up. They realize that it's because of the vacuum left by Kingpin. It all goes back to him. Matt Murdock's involved, and then it's just kind of like both of your stories thrown into mixed together, right? So it starts like this low-level crime with Felicia because she's doing some low-level crime. Spider-Man comes in, Peter Parker looks. You guys get it. Like we've essentially all three of us have pitched roughly the same movie, and that to me at least says something, right? The three of us are not pitching a multiverse movie. We're pitching something very grounded. Because that's what I feel like the majority of Spider-Man fans, maybe Marvel fans in general, are wanting, is a grounded Spider-Man movie. Because after the last one, where I did have grounded elements, it went to the very fantastical with the multiverse. And Mysterio, grounded in a way, but not in New York City. It's been a long time, so we just kind of had a very street-level Spider-Man movie. And that's kind of what we're all pitching. And I think there's a reason behind it.
One of the things that are most beloved of scenes from his character are, the moment with Michael Keaton when you realize that he's Liz's dad, and the moment in the car where he's got to make his decisions, where he's I'm completely blanking. Sorry, Homecoming, where he has all the rubble collapsing on him. He's in his old homemade suit, He's, come on, Spider-Man. And it's like that grounded Peter being Spider-Man in New York, I think is exactly what the people are waiting for. And so I couldn't agree more. We don't know anything about this movie other than Destin Daniel Cretton is going to be the director, but we got some pretty good ideas. So Marvel Studios, Sony, give us some calls. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're doing. Give us a little producer credit. We'll help you out. We'll make sure that you don't mess this thing up. Rachel, what are you doing these days? Where can the people find you on socials? You got anything fun to plug? You got a piece that you want the people to see? What's going on?
I have interviews you can watch on the Mary Sue's YouTube. You can read my thoughts on many things on the Mary Sue and at Collider. I have multiple podcasts, one that is part of this lovely conglomeration. It's called Cinema Sieves, where me and my brother talk about movies we loved when we were kids. I have Pedro Pascal, the Pedro Pascal podcast. You can figure that one out. And then I have the Pal Pod, a Glenn Powell podcast. You can also figure that one out. And yeah, just follow me on Twitter at Rachel Leishman, or on Instagram and TikTok is Rachel_Leishman.
Like I mentioned, over at agentsfandom.com, we have tons of great reviews from the Toronto International Film Festival coming through every day, as well as Rings of Power and Only Murders in the Building recaps and reviews coming every single week. And soon we will have recaps and reviews for The Penguin, as well as Agatha All Along, and shows from Apple TV like Shrinking as well. So make sure you check out agentsoffandom.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the Agents of Fandom wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. We got a lot of great shows coming for the podcast coming soon. For the first time in a long time, we will be back with our live shows immediately after Agatha All Along. Each and every week, we'll be doing a live after show with some wonderful guests, so make sure you check that one out. And then Rings of Power after show will be coming every Friday morning. We got Comic Corner dropping on Thursdays. And then we will be doing a show for The Penguin as well, dropping every Monday, starting at the second episode, because they're premiering on, I believe, a Thursday for their first episode. So first episode, we'll be doing another live show Friday morning, unless you live in the UK, where our guest Heavy Spoilers will be joining us for our breakdown of episode 1 of The Penguin. So we'll be live for that one as well. Make sure you check out the Agents of Fandom either on this YouTube page, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. We'll be live on all of them. Damon, did I forget anything else before we get out of here?
I'll say this. If you are very excited about Agatha All Along and you want to do some reading material, I've said it again. I'll say it once more. Scarlet Witch by James Robinson. That is the Witch's Road book. Highly suggest that. And now there's not an excuse, because if you are a Disney Plus subscriber, you can get this book for free digitally. So go to the Comic Corner Pod Twitter account. You can find the link there, and then you'll just follow the on-screen instructions, and you'll open up the Marvel Unlimited app, and bing, bang, boom, you got that Scarlet Witch book digitally for free, along with a lot of other goodies.
I love it. And that did remind me as well, make sure check out the Agents of Fandom YouTube and podcast feed over the next couple of days, because we will have Agatha All Along interviews dropping as well. Our wonderful Ryan Cortero got to talk to Teen himself, Joe Locke, as well as head do they call them showrunners now? Are they back to television? Director, writer, potential showrunner, Jack Schaefer. So make sure you check that out as well, because he had wonderful conversations with both of them. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We will be back with lots of great content coming soon. On behalf of myself, Damon, and Rachel, we will see you next time. Peace.